Hi, Kate.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to have you on the line with us. Kate
Thank you.
Wallace is one of the GSEA student qualifiers this year for the Global Student Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. It's being sponsored by Entrepreneurs Organization, and allow me to take a moment to explain what the Entrepreneurs Organization and GSEA is before we get into our interview. Okay, Kate? So EO is Entrepreneurs Organization. We're a worldwide organization of business owners and entrepreneurs. There's about 12,000 of us around the world in 160 chapters. So we're all over the place. 60 chapters have taken part in the GSEA. So the GSEA, because we love our acronyms, the GSEA stands for Global Student Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And Kate is our finalist from Toronto.
Hi.
Congratulations on winning that.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. I'm really excited to be here.
perfect. And we're excited to have you. You're going to be joining us on February 21st here in Vancouver for the big Canadian National Finals.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Kate, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
So I'm Kate, the founder of BeyondABC. We empower companies to connect with Generation Z in a more authentic way by building socially conscious products.
Like
The com-
games.
yeah. So I'm a video game design major at Parsons in New York.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we use games and emerging technology like virtual reality and artificial intelligence to build products that have a socially conscious focus for companies and nonprofits such as Goal India. And right now we're working with Verizon.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
What year university are you in there? Where are you in your path with school?
I'm a senior, so graduating in 3 months, which is exciting.
Pretty exciting. You get to go out into the real world.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really just want to work on this full time.
So how did you get inspired to make this? Because when I hear about people going into gaming, they're trying to make money through apps on a mobile device, or they're making another first-player shooter game. But you've got this social cause behind gaming. Tell us about that.
So I had never played a video game in my life when I started my video game design program. I actually originally came to Parsons for fashion design because I used to be a model when I was younger. But then in my sophomore year, I got a fellowship to go to India and study globalization. And while I was there, I became really interested in the connection between human trafficking, lack of education, and poverty. As part of the fellowship, we had to write a proposal for a design project that would address this issue. And then when I got home, it wasn't enough to just hand in this paper and move on. I'm a creator at heart and wanted to build something to address the issue. So I switched into game design and put together a small team, and we started building a game that provides Indian youth with the safety skills they need to protect themselves from human trafficking. And our team has traveled back to India 3 times since and is going back again in May.
I don't even know where to start. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank
And
you.
do you have a personal connection with the students that you're helping in India? Do you go back to the same school or the same region?
So I was very much just winging it the first trip. They basically just gave me a couple $1,000s and were like, you have to go figure this out by yourself. I went to India. I didn't even know where I was going to live. I was 19. My parents were like so nervous. They could hardly talk to me on the phone when I was leaving. And then I started interning as a product designer at a software startup. And then one of the guys who was running that was like, you're crazy. Why are you a 19-year-old girl living alone in India? Come live with me and my family. And then through him, I started just talking to him about how crazy I thought it was that there were all these kids on the street, like not in school, asking for money. They don't have food. And he was like, oh, you should meet my friend Kristen, who started this nonprofit where they teach girls who are forced into prostitution how to sew so that they don't have to be prostitutes anymore and they can support their family with the money they make from sewing. So I started spending time at the center with those girls and learning about their stories and seeing the gaps in where in their knowledge and like how they fell into this situation.
Mm.
And then I just started like emailing tons of organizations and schools and was speaking to somebody from the UN and just learning more about this issue. And then that gave me the research I needed and the contacts I needed so that we could keep working with them and keep going back.
Well, you're not shy. You called somebody at the
Yeah.
UN?
Yeah, I mean, it's very funny though, because I am shy and I am very soft-spoken. Like when I was a kid, you couldn't even hold a conversation with me because I was so shy.
Right.
And then I think this experience made me be like, okay, like these people need help, and I feel like I have the skills and the resources to maybe do something that could make some sort of small change. Like I need to just get over it and get out there and start making things happen.
Wow.
I'm a totally different person than I was before this project started.
That's great to hear. Steve Nash, a Canadian that we all know, basketball player, says that the only reason that we are in the position we're in is because we've won the genetic lottery. And he's
Mhm.
right. You know, we're just lucky to be born in Canada, into a first world country with everything around us that we can be successful. What a great story you've got. So tell me how the game interacts with the girls at risk or who are already, trapped in sex trafficking. Does it stop them from getting into trafficking? Does it get them out of it? Where do you come in?
Yeah, so the need that we identified is prevention. Most of the organizations in India right now focus on intervention and recovery. But once a girl has fallen,
Looks
oh, is
like
it
we
working?
lost ourselves there.
Okay, yeah,
So
now it's
let's go
back.
back and ask the question again. I'm just going to put my hand up here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So where does your game fall in the spectrum of helping these girls at risk? Is it before they are at risk, after they're already in this horrible life, or where does your game fit?
Yeah, so the gap that we found when we were doing our research is that most of the organizations in India are focused on intervention and recovery.
Mhm.
So once a girl has already fallen victim to human trafficking, they're focused on going in and pulling her out and on helping her get her life back on track afterwards. And like this is very important work, but once that's happened to somebody, their life is never the same. Like they're never able to resume a normal life because it's so traumatic.
Right.
So we want to focus on prevention, which is giving kids these really basic safety skills they need so that they can protect themselves from these situations. So a good example of this would be um, don't, if somebody offers you a job that's too good to be true, don't go. And like here are all the signs of somebody trying to lure you into trafficking. So traffickers use deception as a means to get young people to leave rural villages and go
Mhm.
into cities to work. And they're taking advantage of their poverty because they're saying, oh, here, I'll give you money and I'll give you food and you can send money home to your families, which I mean, that makes sense given their situation. Like a lot of the times the families don't have food on their table. And sometimes that can be a legitimate job, but most of the time they think they're going to work in a factory and then they end up in a brothel. And we
Oh,
teach them how to avoid that situation.
wow. So given your basis of understanding, and you've got two partners as well, right? You've got Danny and Kerr.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys
Mm-hmm.
sit in a room and do you try to think up a learning outcome based on our North American model of understanding, or how did you come up with the learning outcome and the gamification of this?
Yeah, so we started off by trying to think about it in a room and then realized that that was a huge mistake. Actually, the first prototype we brought was a disaster for that reason. We realized that we needed to work a lot closer with organizations. So we partnered with Goal India, which is a international nonprofit that does work with children, and they do a lot of other amazing projects too. But they work in Kolkata with kids who would be very high risk, and they gave us a list of 12 different learning outcomes that we needed to
Oh,
implement
okay.
into the game, and now we're working closely with them.
Right. And so one of the learning outcomes would be if the job seems too good to be true, it is.
Yeah, and things like these are your rights as a child. Like it's normal to work these hours, but if they're making you work like way too much and if you're not getting paid, then you know that there's something wrong.
Ah, okay.
Or that would be like if you're in a factory or if they're trying to take your passports or your documents, that's a huge problem. Don't
Oh,
never surrender your documents
wow.
because then once they give their passport, there's no way for them to get out of the
They're
situation.
stuck forever.
Yeah.
Wow. It's incredibly important work you're doing. I'm happy that you're doing that and so glad that you came to EO to tell us all about it.
Thank you.
So how do you balance this whole passionate social cause that is gamified for learning for children and youth at risk with being a student? Because you said you're almost finished school.
Yeah.
What's the balance look like for you?
So I mean, it's very busy. Like I work a lot, but I also love what I do, which makes it easy. And so do my partners. Like we're best friends and just hang out all the time building our different products. So we, right now, Danny and I are in our thesis, and our school has let us work on Beyond ABC for our thesis. And then we took a couple master's level courses, which are a lot more flexible than the undergrad ones. And then they're also letting us work on Beyond ABC through those courses.
Oh,
So
great.
this semester, we're pretty much doing this full time for credit, which is amazing.
That is great.
And with
So,
the incredible support system of my school.
wow. And where did you go to high school in Toronto?
I went everywhere. I switched schools 11 times. It was pretty crazy because I was modeling. So I'd
Ah,
have to like go and take off for like 2 months and then come back and want to go to a normal school. I also skipped grades when I was younger, and it was like really hard for them to accommodate all my weird credit stuff. So I graduated high school really early, just fast tracking that way.
wow. You don't do anything halfway, do you?
No,
No.
everything's always a little bit. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Kate, thanks so much for joining us today. You've got an incredible story, and we're looking forward to hearing it here in Vancouver. Again, on February 21st, you'll be here at the Hootsuite offices. They've been a wonderful sponsor for us, so it's a great location. You'll meet the rest of the Canadian competitors. I think you guys have already started chatting because I see the emails going back and forth with you guys. And then the winner of the Canadian Nationals actually goes to Frankfurt, Germany, April 27th to 29th. But you've been to
Amazing.
Germany, I'm sure, so it's no big deal.
Not yet, actually.
Oh, you
That would be
haven't?
cool.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
that'd be
no.
cool. More traveling for Kate.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're really looking forward to meeting you and hosting you here in Vancouver, and all the best with Beyond ABC.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Kate.
so much. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye.